We always hear the cliche hitting rock bottom. That's how a lot of us felt this last year through the pandemic. Life has been difficult. The pandemic has been a worthy adversary. Here's another cliche. Like a phoenix rising,
Giorgios, marvelous decade!
So are we. On this edition of Focal Point, we'll show you some of the good that's happened in the first few months of 2021. The swim and dive program was eliminated, but a former legendary coach made sure that wasn't the end of the story.
He was really good about saving all the stuff.
While campus isn't completely open yet,
but now that I'm married man at last,
some of us are rediscovering each other in face-to-face classes. Masks have helped prevent COVID-19, but what else have they protected us from?
I feel like I was always getting sick last year, and this year I've barely gotten sick at all.
Some businesses struggled, but a few that held on got help from an unexpected visitor.
For him visiting, he gave us a good boost for the business.
This special edition of Focal Point starts now. Hello and welcome to this special edition of Focal Point. I'm Taylor Gattoni. We're live in front of the MSU Library, across the street from the famous Beaumont Tower, and in the heart of campus. It's been a difficult year for not only the Spartan community, but for everyone. Behind me, across the Red Cedar River and next to Spartan Stadium, Joe Freihofer has a story that is both sad and inspiring, covering a half-century of memories.
Yeah, that's right, Taylor. Sad because the athletes on the MSU Swim and Dive program will only get to walk up these steps on their way to practice for 5 more weeks before the program is officially cut by the university. But inspirational because an old story of love has become new again. It's spring cleaning on the second floor inside IM West.
We kind of emptied all of them out. The large majority of them have been emptied out.
We all have those boxes we've been too scared to touch in our attics.
There's just so much history here.
History lost in the wake of time. Notes, letters, report cards from students that legendary swim coach Charles McCaffrey saved for some reason.
He was really good about saving all the stuff, too.
In file cabinets here for more than 5 decades. Matt Giorgios' time as MSU's head swim and dive coach is coming to an end. But you wouldn't know it.
Yeah, so they're on 50 seconds. All right, full boat position for the whole of them, 12 total.
In October, MSU announced the program would be cut after this season.
It's just really, it's been tough. It's been very difficult for us.
Giorgios carries on McCaffrey's legacy, one where the program felt more like a
family. He used to call the swim team the Porpoise Fraternity.
He had these amazing relationships that went on for decades. He was so beloved.
Coach McCaffrey saved everything from final race times from 1975 to letters of love that took over half a century to reach their destination.
So how he ever found me, I don't know.
I ended up talking to her on the phone, and I said, look, I really want to send this stuff to you.
Giorgios found a Christmas card, then a baby announcement, more than 60 years old, from one of McCaffrey's former swimmers.
The person at the post office told me that it was like a Lifetime or like a Hallmark kind of movie.
The real life movie goes like this. That Christmas card and baby announcement came from Nancy Miller, an MSU swimmer herself who fell in love her junior year with fellow Spartan swimmer Roger Harmon. They'd moved to Chicago together while he went to medical school, start a family together, but Roger's life cut short by lymphoma.
His plans, all of our plans just didn't materialize.
He died at 27 years old. They had 2 young daughters.
Chris?
I don't remember his voice.
And Lindsay.
But my grandfather would whisper little things to me like, your dad would be so proud of that.
They only knew their father for 3 years. So when Giorgios dove into the file cabinet, he knew he had to find the original author.
He asked me, is this Nancy? And I said, yes. And he said, is this Nancy Miller? And I said, yes.
Lindsay lives right by her mom in Florida with Chris in Texas. It was a Zoom reunion with the family all together. Family. The very thing that Coach McCaffrey instilled 6 decades ago. Coach Giorgios dove deep into these file cabinets to give to this family.
So that was cute.
The pieces of their father's story.
He was loved.
That will stay with them forever.
That's what he was.
Now, Taylor, Nancy is still as sharp as can be. She works as an elementary school teacher down in Florida, and she still talks to her old coach every week, who's 92. So it just goes to show that this Porpoise fraternity truly does last a lifetime. Here live outside of IM West for Focal Point News, I'm Joe Freihofer. Taylor?
Last fall, students found themselves zooming into class from home. This semester, some students are walking to Wharton for an in-person class. It's about a 20-minute walk from here, and that's where we find Sam Britton live on stage.
That's right, Taylor. We are live here at the Passant Theater, and there are about 600 empty seats behind me, but several days a week, there are a few students that get to practice on this stage. They don't care if they have to wear masks or stay socially distant. They're just happy to be back in person and doing what they love. Normally,
Still selling your pictures of the scriptures.
finding Alex Cousins singing numbers from Kiss Me Kate in the auditorium wouldn't be surprising. But in the middle of a pandemic, it's a rare sight.
It feels like a normal semester of college again.
Math and history aren't too difficult to do on Zoom, but singing and dancing, well, the department felt the need to make an exception this semester.
Like a show that's typically Schuberty. Where is the fun?
Michigan State theater majors Alex Cousins and Quentin Nottage have stepped out of the Zoom class and back into a real rehearsal space.
It's just nice to be back, being around people, like, even though we can see it, it's so different. Like Zoom versus in person, it's so different.
Is this home?
Look at the walls.
Professor Brad Wilcuts
So here we go, starting from the top. Go back to the window.
notices a change in energy.
I've heard a couple of them, kind of like giggling to themselves, like after classes, like, oh, I needed that.
The biggest thing about our major, is connecting with another person.
Naturally, there are some restrictions.
We also have masks that are clear. You can see the student, expressing with their face through their acting.
Every week we have to do the Spartan spit test. Luckily we have this huge space, we can be 6 feet apart.
But even with the safety measures,
I am dripping in sweat, and I think I'm going to change to my second mask.
everyone seems to be happy, including students who prefer the theatrics at home for now. Even after 2 grueling hours of dance, a few mask changes, and a water break, Quentin and Alex are satisfied to be back in person.
Feeling good and calm now that class is over. That's the end of my day, starting at 9 a.m. So, hey, a day in the life, right?
Students seem to be happy to be back on stage, and they can wait for the encore this fall. Back to you, Taylor.
Thank you, Sam. Michigan State has announced that for the fall semester, 75% of classes will be in person. So hopefully that encore will come soon so I can get a ticket to the next performance. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected the way we live in one way or another. Coming up, seems like we didn't even worry about flu season this year, and there's a good reason.
And those masks, I think, really prevented portals of entry of viruses that normally would be there.
And then also, in a few days, the MSU PD will be welcoming the new police chief and vice president of public safety.
Definitely looking forward to being the Vice President for Public Safety and Chief of Police at MSU.
These stories and more after the break.
Let's set the scene. The COVID-19 vaccine is the next part to restart our lives. We can aid in the fight well beyond our nation by checking out a vaccination station. 1 shot, 2 shot, COVID and flu shot. In case you forgot, this is our shot.
52% protection, but let's not forget to mention once you get the second dose, 95% is close. Doing the most to be close to a loved one, together's the goal, and then we'll be whole.
What's the point? It's in your arm to defend against global harm.
Welcome back to Focal Point. More people are getting their COVID-19 vaccine each day. Starting April 5th, all Michiganders 16 and up are eligible to receive their shot. Brianna Idzior is live at the MSU Pavilion, where people are one step closer to being immune from the virus. Brianna?
Well, Taylor, as you can see, Michigan State has turned the Pavilion for Agriculture and Livestock Education into a vaccination site. All these cars behind me are lined up to receive their vaccine. Doing this, wearing masks, and frequently washing your hands can all help stop spread COVID-19. However, these safety protocols are also effective in preventing an older virus, the flu.
Times change. Students used to worry about parking tickets and missing the bus.
people.
Now the worry is missing a COVID spit test or forgetting a mask.
Although many life adjustments had to be made in the last year, following safety protocols like wearing masks could mean less trips here.
It is actually historically low,
Sparrow Dr. Paul Entler reveals an unexpected bright side.
not just in our region, but the whole United States.
Flu season didn't come at all.
I haven't heard any cases of the flu this year.
I feel like I was always getting sick last year, and this year I've barely gotten sick at all.
I haven't heard anyone really say anything about colds or anything this year.
Dr. Entler witnessed it firsthand.
We had one case in the hospital.
And the doctor says we can thank those inconvenient face masks.
Being vigilant about washing your hands in those masks, I think really prevented portals of entry of viruses that normally would be there.
And even the new COVID vaccine might help future flu seasons.
The exciting thing is from COVID with this new technology with messenger RNA, I believe further flu vaccines in the future are going to be much more effective.
We've all learned a lot. Doctors learned a lot.
It really opened my eyes up as a physician.
And with those lessons, we may soon be able to greet each other like this again.
For the most up-to-date information, you can visit the CDC's website to view the weekly U.S. influenza surveillance report. Taylor, back to you.
Thank you, Brianna. Students returning to the classroom also sparks important conversations about diversity and inclusion. However, as Focal Point's Reagan Holgate tells us, a former Mason school teacher says those conversations weren't welcome in her classroom.
Everything that I grew up being taught and that I still believe in is that you value people.
It's a fight for change.
I was just hopeful that the community would be supportive.
To stand up for what you think is wrong.
You can't confine an entire student population to only learning about their white community.
That's what Caitlin Thomas did, and that's why she just resigned from teaching in Mason.
As a teacher, you should be able to talk about current events and help your kids process them.
She wanted to teach her students about the Black Lives Matter movement, but never felt she got the okay.
They weren't going to allow these discussions to happen. I couldn't stay.
We reached out to the Mason superintendent but still haven't gotten a call back. So what's the policy and philosophy in some other area school districts? Here at East Lansing Schools, they say the diversity topic is an important one to discuss.
You can't not talk about it. You have to address it in your class. It doesn't matter what you're teaching.
Glenn Mitchum, the East Lansing Public Schools curriculum director, says conversations in the classroom are important.
We're trying to be a school district that is confronting and interrupting all of those biases.
But there is still work to be done.
It's just not realistic to out of sight, out of mind issues of ethnicity and diversity and social justice.
Caitlin doesn't know if she'll return to teaching.
This has left a pretty bad taste in my mouth for teaching.
But she will continue advocating for change in the Mason community.
Continue to vocalize and support and push for change and tell the district that it's not acceptable. They need to be accountable and they need to take action.
Yesterday was April Fool's Day, a day usually celebrated by pranks and practical jokes. You probably wouldn't believe it if you were told your new boss is starting on that day, but it's no joke. MSU welcomes a new police chief, and Darren Baydoun is live now with a preview.
That's right, Taylor. Yesterday, MSU Spartan alum Marlon C. Lynch began his duty as MSU's new police chief and vice president of public safety.
Inside the Michigan State Police Station, past this point lies a maze of rooms and hallways that will soon be home to incoming MSU Police Chief Marlon C. Lynch.
Definitely looking forward to being the Vice President for Public Safety and Chief of Police at MSU.
A former Spartan, Lynch will be focusing on connecting with the students and the greater community from the start of his tenure.
So I plan on conducting a listening tour when I arrive and to meet with students, student leadership, colleagues, faculty and staff, as well as the East Lansing community.
Public Information Officer Chris Rosman believes Lynch's arrival will provide stability in leadership as well as enhancing their ongoing efforts.
We're looking forward to his insight and his experience and what he can bring to our department to further enhance the efforts that we've already started.
Now, according to salary.com, the average salary for a police chief in the state of Michigan is $110,185. That's compared to Lynch's salary, which is going to be $299,000. That is nearly a 200% increase from the median salary.
I believe that the salary goes along and be compatible with the structure level of being at the vice president combined with the chief of police role.
Regardless of any potential controversy, Lynch is looking forward to returning to his old stomping grounds and leading the charge into the future for MSU's police department.
To have the opportunity to come back in this capacity, to definitely make a difference and have a significant impact on the community there, specifically in regards to safety, means a lot.
Chief Lynch graduated with a degree in criminal justice here in MSU and now is in charge of 80 full-time officers, making sure that degree is put to good use. Taylor?
Thank you, Darren. No fooling, the new police chief will be here April 1st.
The pandemic has taken a toll on all of our mental health. But what's better to lower your blood pressure than sharing your life with a new companion? Find out how the pandemic has led to a huge spike in pet adoptions in East Lansing. Later, a celebrity brings business to some of East Lansing's favorite pizza places. Stay with us.
Getting a swab up the nose isn't fun. That's why I chose to do the Spartan spit to see if I had it. It being COVID-19 is nothing new that we've seen. The pandemic still going on. That's why I'm singing this song. So here is what you have to do. Grab a kit and spit into the large tube. Use a dropper to transfer the spit. Shake for 15 seconds this new hit. Don't forget to log your code before you return to your humble abode. I'll put it inside the bag. Your professors will be so very glad.
Welcome back to Focal Point. Even through hardship, people have tried to find ways to keep their spirits high. For many, it's about bringing home a new family member, of the four-legged kind. I know I have myself. The start of the pandemic led to a boom in pet adoptions. Focal Point's Emily Towns takes us to the Humane Society.
It usually wouldn't be the best news to find Franco here.
The turnover here is just amazing.
This year has been hard for everyone. Businesses closed, people lost work. But Penny Myers knew that they somehow had to keep this place open.
And to think, what can we do? Our pets need to be, adopted, and people are wanting to adopt right now because it's the perfect time.
In fact, because people had to spend a year isolated and mostly alone, pet adoptions skyrocketed across the nation. This means, like many of the cats and dogs here, Franco will most likely have a home soon.
We were essential because they still needed to be taken care of.
And this in-between home for Buddy couldn't be more essential. Kirsten Olsen has been a volunteer here for about 3 years.
What's changed?
She remembers 1 month in 2020 where they had to make adoptions through Facebook and phone calls while the doors were closed to even her. But Kirsten found a new way to help out.
I've made over 600 masks. The money that when they're sold goes to the Capital Area Humane Society.
While wearing masks might be new due to the COVID-19 pandemic, frequently washing and sanitizing your hands between each animal is not. Staff, volunteers, and visitors must abide by this rule to make sure that the animals are safe and healthy.
Just in case, you want to make sure that you're not spreading something to another cat.
Dogs, cats, and all other kinds of pets are finding homes faster than ever before.
Like with the number of people that have died from COVID, obviously a lot of those people have had animals.
Kirsten said those pets will obviously need to find new homes.
I'm sure a lot of them have ended up in different humane societies.
But the number of animals coming in hasn't changed.
That number didn't increase like our adoptions did.
Even during this dark time, people are finding love, one bark at a time. In Lansing, I'm Emily Towns, Focal Point News.
In 2021, the Capital Area Humane Society has placed nearly 100% of their animals. Click on cahslansing.org for more information. From animals to plants, taking care of living things doesn't stop even during a pandemic. Focal Point's Olivia Santelli shows us why the pink lights in the greenhouses are important.
The pandemic shut down businesses. Entire university campuses went dark.
How do you water a plant when you're at home?
But there has been a shining light through it all.
Yeah, those are light-emitting diodes.
On Farm Lane, on Michigan State campus, they've left the lights on. They had to.
Maybe you've seen them, cutting through the darkness of the winter and a pandemic. These greenhouses, a place that could not be shut down.
We have several $1 million worth of research in here.
Chrislyn Petricka heads the MSU Greenhouses, a sort of hospital and incubator for,
I wouldn't even want to guess as to how many different plant species we have in here.
well, thousands of plant species. They were able to continue work even when most face-to-face classes were canceled.
In a lot of ways, we're back to normal. I mean, obviously, we're still wearing masks, we're still social distancing, we're still, sanitizing, things like that.
Not only are there 65 faculty helping with research here, students like John Gove help too.
I help with whatever projects are going on. My professor's working a lot with succulents.
You can't miss these glass buildings on campus.
Plants respond differently to different wavelengths of light.
The light show is on every night at the corner of Farm Lane and Wilson.
Yeah, they get a lot of attention.
In East Lansing, I'm Olivia Santelli for Focal Point News.
The lights help the plants grow and thrive, but they also bring a bit of brightness to campus. And now for our Focal Point finale, we'll head north of campus to Giorgios and Bell's Pizza. The pandemic hit them hard since many pizza lovers moved back home when campus closed. But business got a boost when a certain Barstool celebrity walked through their doors. Focal Point's Brianna Idzior brings us a slice of hope.
Hi, how you guys doing? Good.
It's a name as familiar as Tom Izzo.
We've been here for almost 26 years now.
And like Izzo, Giorgios calls East Lansing home.
That's why we chose this location, because it was in the middle of everything, especially the bars.
And of all the years here, this last one could be the toughest for its owner, Maria Ruska.
Well, when it comes to business, we're at least 50% less on the business, at least. We're hoping pretty soon everything will go back to a little bit normal anyway.
But something unexpected happened that sort of gave this institution a shot in the arm when the famous man who reviews pizza places walked through these doors.
Oh, he caught me off guard.
The popular online reviewer Dave Portnoy, who founded Barstool, showed up.
Because I watch him every day. I don't follow where he goes every time. Like, I didn't even know he was in Michigan that particular day.
Portnoy gave Giorgios a score of 6.8.
The customers were more upset with his review than us, because they said, oh, you should have gotten more. I said, that's fine. That was a good score for us.
But that didn't matter because it brought in
a lot of new people, a lot of new customers. Today, again, I had a new kid came in. He says, I came in because I saw Dave Portnoy was here,
But Giorgios isn't the only place that Portnoy visited. He made a second stop here.
Bell's Pizza, one of the oldest pizza place still existing in town.
Another favorite of MSU students.
Alumni come a year later for a game or something, first thing they think about to stop at Bell's Pizza.
Bell's owner Habib was also not expecting to see Dave.
Well, there Portnoy was a surprise for us. I saw all the students, they coming, trying to take a selfie with him. Then I asked one of them, who is this guy? And he told me who he is.
But now, he's someone Habib won't forget.
The day they posted his visit, our revenue doubled.
Dave's 6.9 rating of Bell's is still leaving an impact. But Habib is certainly not complaining.
For him visiting, he gave us a good boost for the business. I mean, we like him to visit once a week, will be nice. So this business will be good.
In East Lansing, I'm Brianna Idzior, Focal Point News.
To watch Dave Portnoy's reviews on Spartan Pizza, you can visit his YouTube channel called One Bite Pizza Reviews. The pandemic has been a hard time for everyone, but as we've seen in the last half hour, things are starting to look up. Here in East Lansing and on campus, we are resilient, and we see the light at the end of the tunnel. Next week, vaccines will be available to everyone in the campus community. Most classes will return in person in the fall, and with any luck, the streets will be full of Spartans excited to be part of a normal college experience again. Thank you for tuning into this special edition of Focal Point. I'm Taylor Gattoni. Have a great weekend and stay safe.